have Mark, who's having a bit of a conflict with Carly, making some revisions that Mark doesn't think are the right ones. So he's gone to his manager to help him through this. What does the manager say as she's opening the discussion? Table in the back, I believe that was your torch to bear.
As to what was going on.
Right.
She was trying to, let him
asking him for the details.
What's going on.
That's exactly right, Mike. And she also, it's important to note that this is not a proactive conversation. She's active. She's doing her own work. Mark comes in the office, sits right down. Hey, I need your help. So she doesn't know. So she needs to dig out the details. What else does she say in opening and clarifying?
She showed some empathy on the situation. She realized there were some issues in the past.
Yes. So she talks about those. We've had issues in the past. If it goes unresolved, bad things can happen. She talks him through why it's important that they reach a resolution. And she reminds him, well, I'm glad you came in because this is important. We do need to resolve it. If you continue to be passive about it, it's not going to help. It may even get worse. So again, this is a process of discovery. She's helping Mark to discover why it's important to fix it. She's helping him to discover what he could have done differently or better in explaining some things to Carly, which brings us to develop. What kinds of things does he or does she say in the development stage to start to get at some ideas for how to fix it?
One of the first things, I guess Carly's kind of new, so she says, explain to her the process, what's the difference between major and minor, where are we in the timeline, what's the urgency, what the customer expectations are.
Exactly. So again, lots of questions, a discovery process. Mark knows better than anyone what has happened between he and Carly so far. He knows better than anyone what he wants Carly to do versus what she is actually doing. So she helps him go through this process, again, of discovering what Carly really needs to know, the difference in the major and minor revisions, what other kinds of things she might need to understand. And so he's coming up with some ideas of his own. She probably also needs to see know what our customers are going to do on their end of it. And she probably needs to see the project plan that includes the timeline. He's realizing all the information that she could use to help her make the right revisions so he doesn't have to revise her revisions over and over.
It was also discussed that instead of just all saying what she could do and then trying to make it sound negative, was to praise her on something, or maybe she's good at tightening up the language, or to help soften it up.
And that's an important piece and goes back to the personal needs that people have. When you're talking to them about things they need to improve, and we'll even talk about that this afternoon when we talk about managing performance problems. You want to let folks know what they are doing right as well. Because you don't want them to change everything. You just want them to fix the things that aren't working so well. So if they leave the conversation feeling like they don't do anything right, not only is that not good for their esteem and in the confidence that they have in themselves, but also they'll think they need to fix everything. So they'll change the stuff they're already doing right, and even that won't be right anymore. So you want to let them know, keep doing this. This is good. You want to let them reinforce those things that are going well. So we see developing some ideas of how Mark can have the conversation with Carly. We see his manager using those key principles of esteem, sharing, involvement, empathizing. We see all of those things involved. She even says at one point, I know this is a headache for you, but it's important to get it the agreements that they come to and how they close out the discussion.
I'll ask him if he can turn it around quickly. I need to talk to him about something else anyway. How long will you be here?
Well, I'm getting ready to go home now, but you could reach me at home around 5.
I'll have him give you a call if he can do it. If he can't, we'll have to phone.